Welcome to another episode of the Spoiler Alert. So lately I've been talking a lot about newer cars that people are creating and putting out into the industry, and cars that haven't actually come to the industry yet. But I thought I'd talk about my all-time favorite cars, because that's something I haven't really covered yet, and I wanted to do something fun. So that's what we're gonna do. I might have another episode like this with some friends, which I think would be super cool. We can all just talk about our favorite cars and, what we might want to get in the future, or what we aspire to drive at some point. So I'll start off with a few of my favorite cars and why I like them so much. I'd have to say my first favorite car of all time would be the 1965 Ford Mustangs, just because I'm a Ford fanboy, and I've always loved Mustangs, and I think the original Mustangs are just super cool, especially 65 to 67s, I'd say, because the Mach 1s are also really cool. I just kind of love that classic, American muscle look that the Ford Mustang puts out. It's on par up there with, like, the first-gen Camaros and the original Challengers and Chargers and the Dodge Darts that came out in the 60s, 70s. And cars like that, they're not made anymore. And I think they're cool. The classic look of them, the way the speedometer and the tachometer are laid out on the dash, and the radio units inside of the car. It's all just so classic, and it looks so good and so cool. I'd have to say my second favorite car of all time would be the 1955, 56 Chevy Bel Airs. Those are also, for the same reasons that I like the Ford Mustangs, the Bel Airs are also really cool. Just that classic diner look kind of thing. Really neat car. Just in general, a cool classic. I'm not all muscle. I'm also kind of into JDM cars, which I'll get into now. Yeah, so like the JDM cars, I'd say my all-time favorite is the Supra. It's just such a iconic car. It's really cool, because of its history. It wasn't really meant to be the car that it turned out to be, but after the Fast and the Furious came out, that starred Paul Walker's orange, iconic Supra, everyone started loving it. It was kind of like a fanboy car, and it's turned into an icon of, like, automotive, sporting, and, it's just a really cool car. And I know it's really cliche to be like, oh yeah, I like the Supra, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Another cliche car that I really like is the R34s and the R32 Nissan GTRs. Which is cliche, I know, but they're really cool cars. They have a lot of tunability, and they have a look to them that you can't achieve in a lot of cars nowadays even. And when you see a GTR kind of go down the street, you have a feeling of like, wow, that's just awesome. That's really cool. The AE86s are pretty cool. Kind of just a more basic car. I'm into quirky cars, so things like the Volkswagen Thing, again, the Pinto and the Gremlin, just weird cars in general. There's this weird Honda that they only sold over in Japan. It was like a two-door car. It wasn't even a sports car. It was just a really cheap little car, and it looks kind of cool, and it looks like it could be turned into a sports car, if you had the time and the money. I like anything that can be, like, easily modded. So, like, the new Focus ST hatchbacks, or RS hatchbacks, they have a cool look to them, and you can easily fit on fenders and, stuff that make them look even better. Since they're turboed stock, it's got a lot of tunability to get a lot of horsepower out of them. And I'm not sure if they run in a 4-cylinder or a 6-cylinder, but either way, they're fast little cars, and you can do a lot with them. I like the car I currently have. It's a 2011 Fusion. Cool thing about these is they kind of saved Ford from the I guess when everyone was going bankrupt, so Chevy had to sign the deal and get rid of a few car brands. Ford released the Fusion, which kind of saved them from going bankrupt like the other car companies did. And it's a cool car because there's a sport model with a V6 that pushes 240 horsepower, and you can easily modify them to make more than that. And they have a lot of cool body kit, kind of, you know, you can fit fenders to them and fit new bumpers to them and make them just look really cool. Same with the new Ford Fusions. The new Ford Fusions look even better, and they have just as much in the term of like making them fast and making them cool looking. So yeah, those are some of my all-time favorite cars. Some of the cars I think are really cool. And that's been another episode of the Spoiler Alert. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.